death, destruction, crypto, cry. It's opportunity, baby. We got a great guest showing on the stream here in just a few minutes when we go live. I'm just retweeting this now there on Twitter. If you are watching this on Twitter, make sure you retweet this. Let everybody know where you're at. And also tune in here on the BitLab Academy YouTube page. Get in here, get in the live comments. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know what you're feeling. We got a lot of stuff, a lot of charts to be covering today about what's going on, target signals, thoughts, and what our favorite food is. It's going to be everything that you want and more. I'm just talking right now to kill the time as I get this retweeted. There we go. Quote tweet live with Matthew Hyland right there. And let's go ahead and kick it in. If you're ready, I see you. We got people in the room. Let's go ahead and get into it. What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Welcome to the BitLab Academy daily stream. We got Matthew Hyland's going to be here on the stream here in just a minute, but we got to talk about what's going on right now because the market, it's breaking down, but really is it? When we're looking at the charts, we're just seeing the same thing on this range, washing people out to the upside, washing people out to the downside. Got some targets, which if you guys don't remember, let's just kind of go back over here just for a second. On Friday last week, look at this. Go into the live section. Friday last week, 56.3K target. I was outlining here as a possibility. It's essentially exactly where we came down to. We came just below it, overshot it a bit, but I also highlighted that not only if we come here on the smaller time frames, let's go on the 2 hour, on the smaller time frames, we had this little head and shoulders here that suggested price action may have an opportunity to be breaking down and coming down here. We did, but we also have this very lopsided sort of head and shoulders here as well that has a target down here in the high 51s, low 52s, but all this and more. We got charts to be breaking down. I'm going to be talking about liquidity here and some other signals later on in the show, but I want to dive into this. I want to make sure every single one of you hits that like button, you hit that subscribe button, ding the bell. If you're watching on Twitter, we are dual streaming now on YouTube and Twitter, so make sure you are retweeting this, letting people know where you're getting that good knowledge. We try to bring you meaningful tools, content, resources, and of course, an empowering community so we can grow together. A rising tide raises all ships. And again, if this is your first time here, I know it's not going to be your last. My name's Kelly Kellum. Welcome to the stream. I'm going to throw it right into my boy here, Mr. Matthew Hyland. Woke up.
What's up, everyone?
He had bedhead when he came on. He said, we got to talk about these charts. So how you feeling, man? Is it over?
No, it's definitely not over. I think there was a breakdown last night, as we saw, but I do think right now Bitcoin is back above the resistance area that broke down from. So if we look at the charts, last night we broke down below this 57.1K area and came down to this 56.1K area. So this was $1,000 swing. We actually went to as low as 55.6K. We had been eyeing this level for a while as this was the low from mid-August. And we had kind of been in a structure of higher highs and higher lows, and this could still keep intact based on the daily close. This is a higher high right here. I'll mark this out for you guys. This was a higher high. Oops, what I wanted. Let me use this one. Back here, and then we also had one back here. And then with the lows, we had the low right here and the low right here. So now if we look at this, if we zoom in, Bitcoin is currently moving up a bit, but it fell below this level, then fell below this 56.1K level, but reclaimed it immediately. So it found support here. It found a bounce. And now the objective heading into last night after we had broken down below was to reclaim this area because this was the first overhead resistance. This would be the first area that Bitcoin would have to get through. So we've gone through it. So that's a good positive sign. Now, what we really want on this daily close is this close. If we can close above 57.1K, then this was a false breakdown. This was also a clean sweep of this area. And sometimes this could lead to a sort of spring where you kind of break below resistance or support and then recover almost immediately and then proceed to move up. So despite it looking pretty bad last night, it currently is showing some strength and some fight as we move above 58K right now, it appears. And a lot of this was due to the overall macro markets, we saw with the S&P 500, we saw a pullback, and this was largely based on NVIDIA. And NVIDIA pulled back because the SEC charged the company for a few reasons. But in my opinion, right, there was so much fear yesterday over this. And back in August, we saw the same thing. And I actually came on this show at the time and said the same thing, that this was completely overblown. And this fear that we saw yesterday was not as much as we saw back in August. But we didn't even see, this is a very small pullback, yet we saw so much fear yesterday, just like how we saw back in August, yet we didn't make a lower low. And if you look at the stock market, the S&P 500 is just in a massive uptrend. And until this breaks, until we start seeing lower lows, I would just expect the S&P 500 at some point to break to new all-time highs. It hasn't yet since July, but I think at some point this will probably break out of this area and continue up. And so historically,
do you think that there's a little bit of an uncertainty and a sort of holding pattern right now, and things are a little bit jumpy, waiting on whatever that Fed rate cut decision is going to be? Do you think the Department of Justice and NVIDIA is actually having some sort of bearish pressure in the S&P 500, or do you think it's just going to be somewhat uncertain all the way till that date in November?
I think overall, as far as NVIDIA goes, from what I understand, it's more like just a speeding ticket. They're probably just going to get a fine, pay the fine, and then continue on. I don't think it will be anything destructive, and I don't think the SEC wants to. I hope not. I hope they're not trying to destroy the stock market the way they've been destroying the crypto market. And if we look at Bitcoin, I've been saying this for a while. I think we're just going to see chop, like as we head into November, as we head into the election, just based on seasonality. And usually the stock market actually sees something similar, where the stock market also slows down into the election. So it is possible maybe we kind of don't break out of this until October or November. Similar with Bitcoin, and we go back historically, 2012, 2016, 2020. I've gone over it a few times, so I'm sure everyone is probably well rehearsed now or refreshed about it. I post on my Twitter frequently saying, hey, just don't expect much, just based on history in September, in August, and probably maybe October or November, we start to move out of this area potentially, but we'll continue to follow it to see what actually happens.
Well, Quentin Francois actually shared a great chart. I'm trying to bring it up right now, but for some reason my when you pay for 1 gigabit internet speed and you get 32 kilobits, I'm not sure what.
That's rough. Yeah, it's definitely rough.
There we go. This is that graphic. This is, once you get into that date, all that uncertainty kind of unfolds. And then this has been very correlated with the halving cycle and the global liquidity cycle, in addition to having this, pretty big impact. And I think some people argue that it's one or the other, or there's no way that it's not a combination of these, 3 major impactful things that happen roughly on the same schedule.
It's everything. And also, I'm not sure if you know this, but the FOMC meeting in November is actually, I think, November 7th. So it's 2 days after the election. So that week is going to be a lot of stuff going on. We're going to have the election. We're going to have the FOMC meeting 2 days later. So there's going to be a lot going on. And now that you showed that chart, I'll show you. If you look at even with Bitcoin, right? If we go back historically, this was November. So this was when the election was back in 2012. And look what happened after. Look at all this upside after the election. And then we go to 2016 right here. I'll mark the election the first week of November right here. That's where the election was. All the upside came after.
And you know what I find interesting about that, even this one as well, is that not only is the upside coming after, but it's also that sort of sideways chop solidation, as Dr. Jeff Ross calls it. But it's, I posted charts on this on April 19th, on the day of the halving. Everybody was so excited, especially new people coming in and people that just, we get lost in our own stew of information sometimes. And it's so bullish because the ETFs, it's just going to break. It's like, well, let's look at the last cycles. Yes, we have ETFs now. We have more capital flow, but we also have an exponentially larger market cap. So we need that capital flow even to do something similar to the last cycles. And so we've seen 160, 150 to 170 days post halving of sideways action, and we're seeing it in all of these also as it lines up with where the election cycles are. It's really interesting that everybody's so frustrated right now when we're doing the same thing we've always done.
Yes, historically, this is really just no different at all. This is exactly the same. If you go to 2012, we kind of chopped. This was starting back in July, chop, 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 and then eventually broke out. And then 2016, chop, 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 chop. This is May, June, July, August, September, October, and then finally broke out. And then 2020, June, July, August, September, and then October finally broke out of this area. So this is really no different than what we've seen in previous years. And it's interesting because all this data was in front of everyone, including myself. And I was even posting this at the time back in July. But even I was, kind of thinking, hey, maybe we'll get a move or not. And now as we've progressed into August and now September, it does look like that this is just kind of playing out the same exact way. We're heading into October or November, even December, we will probably start to, I think, get out of this area. It's playing out the same way. It played out actually the same way last year. This was October where we finally broke out of this 31K range. We kind of did nothing from August to September to October and slowly moved up. So this is just a similar trend. And September is historically Bitcoin's worst performing month. But that's also not a guarantee either that it's going to be the worst performing month this year. If you look back last year, it actually closed in the green. This was a September candle right here. So nothing's ever 100%, but we are, I think with the September thing, with September being the worst month, I think it's kind of like the last little slow period for crypto and Bitcoin. And then usually quarter four is the best performing quarter for crypto and Bitcoin. We've seen all the tops in November and December historically, or January, or we headed up into January back in 2017 or 2012 or 2013. So quarter four is the best month, and I think it's just like one of those things where once when we get by September, sentiment just starts to change and shift heading into the fall.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was just pulling up this because I wanted to ask your perception on our perspective on what's going on with alts. And I thought this chart was broken. I was pulling up the bubble chart here, and I was like, wait a minute. Phantom's not up 43%. HNT's not up 111. Aave's not up 65. And then I obviously pulled up the chart, and that basically goes, what was August 4th, August 5th? That was that massive sell-off. So sometimes data points can be a little deceptive if you don't know the context. But if you look at the week, things are generally bleeding. The day, things are getting a little bit of a bounce right now on that sell-off that they had. But what are you generally seeing right now? Is there anything that's sticking out that's bucking the trend that's showing strength? Or what signals are you looking as well?
Really. I'll just cover this really quickly. This is the VIX. This is more for the S&P 500. We have to pay attention to this. I drew this falling wedge.
I'm going to pause you there real quick, because one of the things we have to remind ourselves to do is as this market matures and new people come in and people start trading where they used to be a holder and so on and so forth, give a very, very basic breakdown. What's the VIX? Why is it relevant to what we're looking at within markets?
The VIX is the volatility index of the stock market. So if you look at we look at these, let me zoom out. These peaks are usually at the highs of volatility. So we saw this in 2008. This was when the stock market, this is October 2008, had that big crash. It still actually turned it down a little bit after that into that February of 2009, but this was when volatility was at its highest. And then if we look back here, this spike was in 2020, March of 2020, as we all know. And then recently we had this wick. But I actually drew this this falling wedge out back in, I don't even know when, maybe a year or so ago or 2 years ago, back in 2022. And it ended up actually respecting. And then we had that breakout. But now on this weekly candle, it is interesting to see that it is once again getting above. So that's definitely something to pay attention to. I'm not sure. We'll see how this weekly closes. We'll see if it closes above or below. But this is more to do with the stock market but it might indicate that maybe volatility is going to be coming back to the stock market more. But we will see. But now if I go to the alts, I'll give you one that I've been talking about. I've been talking about my Patreon first privately over the last month or so since the lows down here. As well, I started posting on YouTube, or not YouTube, on Twitter when it was around $100 a few weeks ago. And it's AVE, and AVE has just been one of the better looking charts. And the primary reason is if you look at AVE against Bitcoin, which I'll show you right now. Let me go to this. Okay, that's definitely not. Oops. Just give me 1 second. They don't make it easy loading these charts up. AVE is one of the coins that's been outperforming Bitcoin. So there's not many coins that have been outperforming Bitcoin over the past few weeks. There are a few, and AVE has been one of them. And if you look at this chart, it basically it's getting through this resistance area. So it has a lot of room to run potentially against Bitcoin, pending its weekly close. And if I go to others, which is the broader altcoin market, it's alts outside the top 10. It needs to really, at this point, hold this level. It basically tested this low from back in January, once again last night. So this is super important for the alts to hold this level. This is a level I don't think we can afford to lose by any means, because in my opinion, this would be a lower low. This would be structural damage to the lower cap altcoins. So it really has to bottom here. This also looks like a head and shoulders pattern. Potentially, but this would only be confirmed if we broke down. And we've covered this in the past. We got down here back in August. We did actually break below it on that wick, but we did recover after. But we really need to hold this. This really needs to form a bottom. This wouldn't be toward any one individual altcoin. It would be because it's all the altcoins out of the top 10. It would essentially mean that the broader altcoin market would probably be in a little bit of trouble at that point.
Yeah, it's essentially signaling that risk is coming out of all those alts.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it would essentially mean that risk is coming out of these. I didn't realize I moved my microphone. Risk is coming out of the alts, but if you look at total 3, which is all the coins except Bitcoin and Ethereum, to me this looks overall fine. It is sitting on this support, but it would have to go way down here, down to this 442 billion. It's currently around 550 billion. So it has a lot of room. So total 2 really looks fine. It's just the lower cap alts on others that is kind of sitting on the cliff right now. But we'll see if it can hold up over the coming weeks. And it's been holding up for the past month. It just needs to hold up. It's at a point where it cannot lose this level. It wouldn't be good for the altcoin market if it did.
Yeah. So what do you make of, obviously we have the data that you brought up a few minutes ago, September, and everybody, you all, I'm sure, if you haven't seen it, you haven't been paying attention. The data has been everywhere. September is not typically a very bullish month. We've had, for instance, 2016 was a bullish September, but I think it's 3 out of 14 years, September has been bearish. And this also is, coupled with the fact that we have, near record low savings, we have near record high delinquencies on debt and bankruptcies and all kind of different things going on. And we want to look at last cycle, the last 2 cycles, the last 3 cycles. We say it's going to go up from here. And I still absolutely believe that is the case. But I think people are because ETFs came in, it's up only. And we're not only getting a drawdown. I haven't even measured it. Was it like 30 something, around 30-ish% from the all-time high? In addition to the fact that people forget corrections aren't just price action moving down. Corrections are also price basically chopping sideways, basically a duration of time that people cannot withstand because we all need it. We are in a culture now, not just the Western world, the world over. We need it now. Amazon now, not Amazon Prime 3 days. I want it now. Same thing with this market, and it absolutely fucks us. And I apologize for the language, but our lack of patience is what the mechanism that is utilized the most in every market to move capital from the impatient to the patient. So September looks like it may be maybe pretty bad, but Scott Melker said it on one of his streams earlier today. I was tuned in. We have these little 10-day windows in these markets where you get absolutely mind-bending explosions, and you never know when those 10-day windows come. And whether it's 7 days or 14 days, that's irrelevant. The point is, when this does break out, you want to be prepared. And at this point right now, it's also navigating that, taking on risking further drops on some of those coins that are smaller market caps. And this is why it's great to have diversification and have smaller allocations to those. But also, coming into October, do you think that despite this big date that we have coming up in November, do you think that going into the FOMC and possibly getting a rate cut may be bigger, maybe smaller than expected? Do you think that we're able to actually have some bullishness between, let's say, the end of September through October into November? Do you think it's all going to be basically relegated to chop until we get some clarity on all these things?
I think there is a chance that we do get some upside in October, just based on historically speaking. If you look even like at this chart that we had pulled up, this is from Crypto Rover had posted it, but there's a lot of people that have been posting the same thing, and we've been discussing it for a while. If you look at October, this is the last few Octobers, plus 28%, plus 5.56%, plus 39.93%. plus 27.7%, plus 10.17%. This was 2018, negative 3.83%. So that was in the bear market. But then plus 47.81%, plus 14.71%, plus 33.49%. And then 2014 bear market, negative 12.95%. And then the year before, 60%. So October has been, it really looks like one of the most greenest months, especially over the last 5 years. We've had 5 straight years of October being green.
Yeah, it looks like February and October are the best.
Yeah, and that average of these numbers probably comes out to around, on average, probably like around plus 20%.
Yeah, it's 20% at the bottom. Plus.
Yeah. Well, I'm just speaking for the last 5 years. If you add these 5 numbers up, that was an average of around 20% we usually see over the last 5 years. And that is a good point too. Like you said, with just missing a few days, I think Bitcoin historically, it's some number like 90 or 80% of its upside happens in approximately like 15 select days throughout the year. So really, like, most of the upside that we see with Bitcoin only happens around 15 days per year. Most of it's just kind of choppiness. But if you're out of it on those, when that day comes, then you miss out basically on a large upside move during the year. So it's like one of those things where being out of it completely could cost you if you happen to not be paying attention that day when it decides to move. And it could happen randomly, and it never really has like an exact reason or time. It just it could be because of shorts getting squeezed or something, but it sneaks up on everyone usually. It catches a lot of people off guard when it does happen.
Yeah, I mean, one of the charts I'm looking at, this is from Titan of Crypto. Great chart here. It basically breaks it down into not only the halvings, but also these sort of hyper bullish periods, the basically bearish period, and this sort of sideways accumulation kind of reset. In this case, it was just accumulation, kind of the start of the bull run. In this case, we had the little mini bull run, mini bear market, global economic shutdown. But the most important thing that you just outlined with the election data in terms of price action, but then also this is that same number I've been talking about. Post-halving, go right into the zone. Yes, we had some up movement into this, but sideways action. October breakout, but roughly after some sideways action through September, then breakout. Sideways action with the really, this wrecked a lot of people. For those that were involved here, you had that instance where it moves up and you get FOMO buyers, and then it moves down and they sell because they're worried about this, not looking at the context of the whole chart, only to have it, being a bull trap up, a whipsaw down to commit people short, clearing liquidity in both directions, and then boom to the upside. We're essentially seeing the same thing now, because I want everybody to realize this. If you come back over here to Bitcoin, realize what has been happening here. When we see this push up into $73,000, $74,000, we had a 18% move to the downside, then a almost 20, I can't see it there, almost 20% move to the upside, and then 20% move to the downside, followed by 25% move to the upside, followed by, this is just taking people's money who, and I'm not saying don't trade, get out there, trade. We have our whole trading group there in Signals Lab. However, when you're calling yourself a trader, buying a top and then selling at a low, that's not sustainable. You want to look at the context of where we're at in the structure and be buying near support and selling near resistance, and buying near support and selling near resistance on your trading portfolio. But I think you can agree with this, because you and I have talked about trading versus positions. And I think far too many people get in with this mindset that they're excited to be investing in Bitcoin and different select altcoins. And they're excited to be investing, but 3 weeks in, they're trading their entire portfolio. And that is not conducive to making money in this market, because if you're doing that, it also signals that you probably don't have good strategy. You should only be trading a percentage that you've allocated aside. And if you lose that all, it doesn't affect your long-term holding. But if you're making money, you're continually rotating money into your long-term holdings. Is that kind of what you do? Or are you trading your entire portfolio?
No, certainly not. I wouldn't suggest doing that. That's usually if you do that long term, it'll eventually catch up. There are people that, might see success early and then think like, oh, I can continue to do this, I can continue to trade it, and then eventually, especially if you use leverage, that's like a fast way to lose everything. If you're trading your whole portfolio on leverage, I wouldn't suggest that. I hope I know there's people that do that, but not for me personally.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, Matthew, I know you got to make yourself breakfast and get back in the charts. Is there anything else, any other charts or any other topics you wanted to discuss before you bounce?
I'll do one last thing. This was back in 2020. So you just had that other chart pulled up with Bitcoin. And it's interesting. The stock market, this was September and August of 2020. This is when Bitcoin was kind of doing that chop, or that drop that you had said, where it kind of it scared a lot of people. But meanwhile, if you look at the stock market was going up to all-time highs at that time. And doesn't that kind of sound similar right now? The stock market is at all-time highs. People are, getting angsty. Like at that time, it was the same thing. I remember like everyone was saying like, why isn't Bitcoin going up? Like, we just had the largest amount of money printed. Stock market is at all-time highs. Gold went to all-time highs, but Bitcoin at that point that whole summer was not really doing much. It was like kind of testing everyone's patience. And then finally, starting in October, that was when we just started to accelerate into December, into January. We had that whole run. So there's a lot of similarities currently to what we saw in 2020. And we actually even saw gold break all-time highs recently as well, which is another similarity to 2020. So I think we're close. I think if you've made it this far and you've, gone through these swings, these capitulation events that we've seen, I think it'll eventually be rewarding. And crypto usually does that, where when things are super difficult, they're super difficult. And when they're super easy, they get super easy. Like back in January, I mean, everyone was, you could just throw your money at anything, it felt like, and it was going up. Like it was almost hard to like lose money in that period, unless you were like leverage trading, I guess. I'm pretty sure most people were making money. So I think eventually this will turn, and I do think we'll get out of this. I don't think it's a permanent. I don't think this is a bear market or anything like that. Haven't seen enough evidence to suggest that.
Yeah, so I agree with that. I do want to shout out everybody. Those of you that are watching here on YouTube, make sure you go over and give Matthew a follow here at Matthew Hyland. His link is also, it's Matthew Hyland _. It's in the link is in the description below. And for those of you that are on Twitter, make sure you're following him as well. And then of course, if any of you guys came over from Matthew's side, make sure you're giving me a follow here at Kelly Kellum. Make sure you're spelling our names correctly, because each one of us, we both have.
I also have a YouTube channel.
What's that?
I have a YouTube channel also where I post the videos, which is also in my bio. So I posted a video last night.
At Matthew Hyland. Great stuff.
Yeah. All right, Kelly.
Dude,
just wanted to come on today.
This is blasphemy. I am not subscribed to you. I am now subscribed.
Oh.
But stick with us, everybody. Thank you again,
Yep.
Matthew, for coming on. Everybody, stick with us because we got a bunch more charts we're going to be covering here. We're going to be diving in. Again, Matthew, I'll see you. I'll talk to you later on.
Take it easy.
Thanks for coming on, brother. But we got to talk about what's going on in this market beyond some of those charts because there's other things at play. And so many people are getting triggered right now emotionally. And again, thank you, everybody that's tuned in. I do ask you, if you like any of this type of content, if you've been engaged for longer than 30 seconds, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell. We don't like just saying that as content creators. It lets the algorithm know. It lets the mainstream media, yes, YouTube and Twitter are mainstream media with the hundreds of millions and billions of people using it. And they need that data to show that you do like this type of crypto content. So let's continue on here. And again, make sure you're subscribing to people if you are enjoying it. I do want to shout out, this channel is brought to you by Arculus. Make sure you are protecting yourself. You're protecting your crypto, protecting your future. Head over to getarculus.com. Use code LAB10. Use code LAB10 for 10% off your Arculus. It's my favorite crypto cold storage solution. In fact, where are we at right now on likes and views? We got 1,023 people watching between Twitter and YouTube. If we can get, let's see, I'm going to actually do the post, the live stream post right now. If we get, let me go ahead and look at it really quick. Where is it at? It is at, let's see, if we can get to 15 retweets on this, we will randomly draw somebody to give an Arculus to, and we'll ship it off to you. So let's go ahead and get that by the end of the live stream. We got a couple more charts and a couple things we got to talk about today. Of course, everything going on with Nancy Pelosi, potentially, again, I think it's still a rumor, sold, I think last Friday is a rumor. And this DOJ letter comes out today talking about antitrust. Well, there's plenty of companies out there we could talk about antitrust, but it's just funny what these, where governments choose to act like they're contributing to protections. No, they're not. They're just trying to sculpt the money flow into the people that pay their wages and pay their sponsorships into government. So let's just leave that where it's at. I do want to point out too here, this is the SOPR, the spent output profit ratio. And essentially what this is showing is when the profit ratio, when transactions are being conducted and somebody's in profit or in loss, we can see a correlation to this market cycle top here. This is that 2017 top to where we crashed from basically 19,000 down to, all the way down to 6 and then all the way down to like 3,100. But looking at the SOPR and the moving average here, this is basically a 1-year moving average and the 30-day moving average. This basically clearly defined that we had gone into a bear market. Similarly, we had this nice sort of golden cross, if you will, on the SOPR and the moving average. And this marked right when we really started this trend, and we came back down. It's very choppy here with the data of this pulling down, but also this global, it's not Bitcoin, it was a global economic crisis here when the world shut down. And we got this dip below, but this cross back above marked also, look at this, right about when we had that market movement to the upside. Now, where we're at right now, we have dipped below it. So should it be concerning? Yeah, it should be concerning if you are emotional. It should be concerning if you need the price to be up tomorrow. It should be concerning if you don't have a damn strategy. For me, I know I have money that I'm allocating back into the market in sometime next week. And so because I have a strategy and because I also am able to hold and have endurance through some chop, shout out to Mark Dutch in the house. Big love to you. Also, Manameta and M. Vino and Alexander G and Bad Fox and Sawtooth Hiker. So many people I see here on a regular basis. Chris Pfaff, everybody in here. Big love to all of you. I appreciate you guys being here on a daily basis. For any of you that are new here, maybe you've never seen the show, it's amazing when you think you see every corner of the space. There's so much going on in the space, and I'd love to have you join the family. We've got a wonderful community here, so make sure you're subscribing to my profile there on Twitter or here on YouTube, BitLab Academy on YouTube. And you got my name is right there under my face. But the market we're still in an incredibly bullish structure. Let's go over to the BLX, the Bitcoin Liquid Index. Looking at this, I mean, massive bullish structure. We're still within this sort of trading range. Now, this is a little bit oblong. This is more of a parallel channel that I've drawn here, but you can also come down here to this structure that I've drawn here where we have this broadening wedge. But this is a zone that I marked out a few weeks ago about a potential area of interest. Having it marked out and being aware of a lower target, even though you want it to go up, allows you to not panic when this happens. And even furthermore, when you talk about, by the way, you know, I primarily gear most of my streaming content to more position structure, macro, midterm, but we do a lot of trading as well. And I do want to shout out one of our channel partners, CoinW. We got a great thing that we've set up with them. We have a whole thing called Signals Lab, and it's free to enter, free trading group. You get bonuses when you sign up. We got all kind of different stuff. And in that trading group, I'm trying to pull it up right now. Where's my mouse at? Give me 1 second right here. The link is directly below the video here on YouTube. So if you're here on YouTube watching, and if you scroll down right below this, it says free traders group, boom, that link right there will take you to the access to Signals Lab page, which is right here. And it gives you the three different things you need to do. Actually, this will be this one right here. The register. And once you register and deposit, then you are entered. We're doing weekly giveaways on that, $1,000. And then also 4 people for $250, $50 also for people that are trading, that randomly drawn over the next 5 weeks. But once you sign up, then you just enter, you get your UID, which this shows you how to do that. And then right down here, you type /verify, one word, space, and then your number, enter. And then if you are signed up through our link, then it gives you access directly into Signals Lab. And I'm only highlighting that because, I mean, look at these different signals that we've given in the trades that have been taken in the last few days. Plus 33%, plus 25%, plus 11%. Signals, stop losses, take profits, what leverage, all these things. And you need to make sure you're trading at your own risk. This is not financial advice. This is strategy advice showing what we're doing to make money. And you're welcome to participate, but do it in a smart manner. We've got a bunch of lessons and all kinds of stuff that a whole basically free trading course that you're going to get access to by signing up through CoinW with us that I'm recording, and I have some other people recording as well. And that information is going to be plugged in here to the education channel here in the coming days. So get involved while you can, but the signals are here. We have a $2,000 to $10,000 challenge going on right now with the traders that we have in this group. And we're sharing all the different signals along the way. So get involved there. And that link is directly below the BitLab YouTube stream. Where is it at? The BitLab YouTube stream. When you are here, just scroll right down below. Free Traders Group. I'm going to post this in the pinned comments as well on the BitLab live chat. I'm going to post that there. Now, can I post pin? No, I can't pin that, damn it. There we go. Let me pin that. Just get involved while you and make sure you're doing it in a smart way. I see so many people out there doing different trading stuff, and I just figured we had to do it because I wanted to make sure that you get healthy signals, but also education around how to act in this market, how to navigate not only the exchange, but also making sure you're not throwing all risk management just to the wind. We want to make sure you're trading smart when you are trading. For me, I'm looking for opportunities down in the zone, but we also look at Ethereum. We talked about this level way back over here. It came back down, tapped it. Now we're on the weekly chart. Let's get down to let's actually do the 8-hour. We have this flat bottom right here, a little bit of a descending triangle, meaning descending level of resistance, flat level of support. We did fall out of this, which you can tend to expect with this type of pattern, but we sucked right back up into it. Boom. So the question is right now, shout out MVino, member for 2 months. Big love to all the BitLab members here on the YouTube. You guys have no idea how much that helps us move things forward. You know, I obviously, I don't want to say a one-man show, but nearly a one-man show. We got to bring people in. You know, we're trying to hire people, and these memberships that you have here on the YouTube all help incredibly into making sure we can get people paid, making sure that we can continue doing the content that you want, because this is not a part-time job. We are here 17 hours a day on camera, in the charts, writing articles. And so every time, if you guys like content, when you do subscribe to stuff, I just want to say I appreciate it. It really does help making sure that we can support the team, and big love to each and every one of you that are here. So looking at this, we are within this. Ethereum is back within this on the 8-hour. We got some signals of momentum trying to roll over, but it's not looking very fortuitous at the moment. If we cannot sustain in this and we lose this again, remember the last a few days ago, I was talking about this opportunity to potentially revisit down here in the 2200s and likely down here in the 2100s. Ultimately, I don't necessarily think price is going here. Shout out Falco, giving a membership. I appreciate you. But this zone down here doesn't feel like it can happen, right? How is it going to go below 2000 again for Ethereum? Well, we've seen scarier things, and whether or not I think it's going to go there or not, I am prepared if the price action decides to make that move. I have a limit order in to capture this if it comes into this. If it never hits, great. That means things are more bullish and the rest of the stuff that I have in the market is doing well. So it's about preparation. We can also see on the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart here on the 4-hour chart, we have this descending, let's go to the 8-hour. We have this descending channel that's been, all the way back here to September 2022, just ping-ponging back and forth. At some point, this will break out of this zone. Hopefully, right now it looks like it's trying to form a bit of a bottom with a low and then a little bit higher low, but it's not showing any strength. One thing I will say here on the BitLab trading stack down here, the trend fuel shows the momentum, and we have a bullish divergence on the momentum here, and we got that move to the upside. And now we have the momentum is much smaller here, but we're still having all this negative money flow. So what is it looking like on the 4-hour? So we have bullish divergence right into here it's just drew it out for you. Boom, right here. This is not even looking at the BitLab intelligence. Look at this. We have signs of there's an attempt in here for a potential reversal. There's bearishness here. Potential reversal. At the same time, we're getting 3 bearish divergences. So it's kind of nulling those signals out. There's just uncertainty in this market right now. And I expect, even with a bit of a pump, if we got it right now, I would still be a little hesitant to just jump in on that, because I don't jump in on moves. If this got a little bit of a move up between, throughout the end of this week, I'm still hesitant on this market until we get the uncertainty shaken off with some of the different non-farm payroll results we're getting, I think, tomorrow. But then we also have the FOMC meeting that's going to be, I think, 17th and 18th, while I'm going to be in Singapore. By the way, how many of you are going to be in Singapore for Token 2049? CoinW found out, that I toured for years as a house music, techno, underground house, DJ. And so I'll be DJing their big party out there at Token 2049. I think it's on the 19th. Maybe that will turn into, how about this? Maybe that will turn into a party that's celebrating the price action breaking out to the upside after the FOMC meeting. Who knows? But it's going to be a fun time out there. It's God dang, it is so freaking expensive to fly to the other side of the world and stay in a city that there's a 20,000 person crypto event and a Formula One event at the same time. Holy money. Literally holy money. It's going to be an expensive trip, but I'm going to be streaming while I'm out there too. But coming back into the charts, we can see a couple other things. BNB, we had the rising channel, fell out. Near also, look at this. It's trying to hold on to some bullishness. Look at this perfect bearish signal right at the top, comes down, loses this weekly VWAP, this yellow line, and then rejects at it. And then look at this, kind of rejects at it. And now it's trying yet again to break through this weekly VWAP, which is my favorite signal in these charts. Because once we can get above it and find support, it shows that the desire of the market is to play positive spreads, meaning break above it, find support on it, break above it, find support, right? And so what we're seeing right now is the inklings of something bullish. Well, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the 6 signals here. That's just a very quick dashboard. You can see the bullish or bearish or neutral posture. We have one neutral here. And so this is looking like it may want to try and go, but we still have negative money flow. Let's get it on a smaller time frame. I mean, look at this. Perfect retest, test it again. And look at all these bullish divergences. These numbers are painting the divergences of different signals. Stochastic demand index. We also got right here, we got money flow and momentum. We also have RSI and on-balance volume. So there's bullishness that has brewed here along with the price action pattern, and it's trying to actually play that positive spread, not be a fake out. But remember, because you broke through, that is not the signal. When price action breaks through a level, in this case, I'm looking at this weekly VWAP here, which is a very important metric that lets you know, is the intention to break through it, and if it's bullish, come back, find support on it, and have a continuation up, or is it coming up into it, finding a resistance, taking the next leg down, coming back into it as resistance, playing this negative spread versus playing a positive spread. That's what I'm interested in when we're looking at here. So when we're just getting a little bit of a breakthrough of the weekly VWAP right now, we do have some bullish structure here. We have the bullish setup. We had all these bullish divergences signaling strength coming in, as well as the roundingness of the price action. The fact that this is pushing through, and look at this on the momentum wave right here. These bars turning green means that there's a lot of buy pressure coming in. However, we have the stochastics rolling over, so that's not a clear signal yet. We also see on the BitLab intelligence right here, part of the BitLab trading stack, we have the teal candles showing that there's a lot of buy pressure coming in. Well, it's not a clear signal until you get these signals and the price action itself comes up, has some sort of retrace, and you see the bulls defend an area and then continues. That's what we're looking for if you want to consistently be making it. And it's whether you're looking at near or you're looking at dot, which look at this, nice W formation here. We got the buying pressure coming in here with these green bars here on the momentum wave. We got the buying pressure coming in right here on the BitLab intelligence. We have the reversal signal right here. So there are signs of life, but it might be just in the midst of a sort of dead cat bounce. We don't know that yet. That's why you don't just jump in. You also see momentum pretty large here just in the candle itself. Smaller candle yet. So there's conflicting signals here. This is why we want to allow the price action to really do something. In this case, look at the price action on DOT. It's still attacking all these lows here. It has not done anything decisive. But as it stands, when we're looking at DOT, and we see that also they just, they're having some partnerships with Lionel Messi, with Messi, and how big soccer is in the world, and what I've seen them doing with development with all their parachains and going to decode it and noticing that here on the 3-day chart, let's turn off the indicators, we've got this massive sort of falling wedge that did break down, but we're testing levels that you would have had opportunity back in October 2023. And we see the building they're doing. We know the utility that they're addressing with interoperability and all the developments are coming in with JAM and so many other things. This is, for me, I'm looking for opportunities, taking advantage. If this does break out, great. It's signaling something. Wait for the retrace and the conviction to have a continuation to take advantage of it. So whether you're a position trader taking advantage of that, or you want to be a little more conservative, take advantage there. All these things are coming to bear very soon. ONDO, trading had that falling wedge. Everything broke down. It's not over. We're seeing BlackRock having allocations towards ONDO. We're seeing U.S. Tokenization of this broad, the U.S. Treasuries, and a great use case for what's going on with real world assets. Sorry, I got the hiccups. But the massive wick down and then massive bulls eating this back up. Now, currently we're currently situated with a higher low. If this can round itself out, find some chop in here, and then pull out sometime in end of September into October, that would be phenomenal. But I'm just being patient with this one. Another one I know I've been talking with you all a lot about, not that one, Stacks also. I mean, look at this. Stacks has been in this descending trend. It's found a bit of a bottom here. If we can hold this zone and work its way out and chop here a little longer and then break out, great. Stacks is one of those plays, providing that other layer and so much utility on top of Bitcoin. And if these players, these big money players, are getting involved with sort of, or have the desire to slightly get involved with some of the altcoin market or DeFi plays, I think it's going to start to become more likely in the Bitcoin ecosystem if that layer 2 and ORDs and ORDI and runes and if they really start building and, because of that security layer Bitcoin it's a massive untapped area. Now, of course, one of the other ones I wanted to share with you, of course, is Constellation DAG. I think this is probably one of the best gems, the best altcoin gems of this next cycle because they've had so much utility already in place and integrated with the Department of Defense and U.S. Air Force, partnerships with Panasonic and IBM, and they've been doing it basically under the radar, not really doing any promotion, not really. And, this is one of the reasons why when Drew put me on to Constellation DAG, I looked into it. I was already very impressed with everything they were doing. And then we took a partnership with them. So yes, Constellation DAG is a partner, but I am stacking into this. I'm not just promoting it to you. I'm talking about everything going on within, if we come over here to DAG, Constellation DAG, you can follow Dagnum_PI, sharing great information on a regular basis. But there's so much going on within Constellation DAG, from real world asset tokenization to secure data encryption, stuff with the U.S. Air Force, and they're in talks with the Pentagon and the Undersecretary of Defense. They are doing an incredible job of having real utility at defense level scrutiny of being, this is the shit. So I do recommend if at anything, take a look at what's going on with Constellation DAG. I mean, find your opportunities where you can, because this project, if you look at DAG, it's still an incredibly low market cap, 63 million market cap, and it's not like just a project that's going to rug, because they're integrated with the Department of Defense, U.S. Space Force. They even have integrations on the International Space Station, from what I've heard. But the point here is, there are opportunities abound right now, and do not be so frustrated because the market's not going up right now. Be excited that you can still find ways to mine fiat currency and figure out ways that you can allocate it in this market and projects that you believe in. I hope that you learned something anytime you're here on these streams. I hope you're either feeling empowered or you're feeling like you have more tools, because that's what this is all about. I do want to shout out MVino, a member for 2 months, Falco gifting 1 membership, and also MVino gifted or basically did a $2.79 super chat. I guess he was trying to gift a membership, but big love to every single one of you. We're going to head over to, by the way, shout out Green Day Profits. We got that fantasy football deal happening this evening. I'm wondering if I should live stream that. I don't know, maybe. But we got to head over to DGen Alpha now. And I do want to shout out again, our channel partners, CoinW, all of you. If you want to learn deeper about what's going on in this market, head over while this deal still lasts, lab.bitlabacademy.com. We got 120 lessons in there, from a full on-chain data course to technical analysis to patterns to risk management to psychology of trading to all of that, in addition to an incredible Discord with so much information, so many great different participants in there and contributors. And then, of course, I also wanted to shout out, if you do want to take advantage of the trading side of things and really get active in trading, head over to that link that's right below this video. It is right here, Free Traders Group. Click on that Telegram link right there. It will take you, and don't do all random stuff on Twitter. Click on this one from the BitLab, youtube.com/@BitLab Academy. You'll come to our, if you're watching on Twitter, but you come to this link right here. It will bring you to the access to page. You get in there, get involved with our trading. We're doing so many great giveaways as well. I do want to shout that out. We have this right now. We have $1,200 in prizes. $1,200. You can't see it, but I'm looking at the Telegram. $1,200 in prizes. There it is. $1,200 in prizes. CoinW is giving away 5 weeks of giveaways with $1,200 in prizes starting September 1st. So we've already started this $1,000 trading bonus giveaway for 4 users. Will receive $250 trading bonus each Requirements is to deposit a minimum of $100. Make sure you're funding your account in that as well. Week 2, $50 cash giveaway. One user will receive $50 cash every week. Requirement just that you're trading. Get in there, trade some volume. And basically bonus giveaways. So get in there, get involved. We have all the live sessions in here. I'm bringing on some of those professional traders as well as myself. We got swing trading, it's scalp trading, community signals. Nobody's posted any community signals yet. So get in there, get active, because we're going to do this together. It's about that time in the market where some people are chopping out their future because they're making silly decisions. And that's why I do this here, is I want to make sure that you have the same advantages and freedom in life that I do. And don't step into some of the same issues that I did. Shout out to Biomex. Go ahead and live stream the fantasy football. Don't feel bad if we start, you're not going to snot my picks, but that's all I got, everybody. Let's head over to DGen Alpha. Let's go drop. What should we drop? Everybody go over to the DGen Alpha stream right after this and drop it's pizza time and put 3 lab coats. Let's go and confuse everybody in there. They're like, what the hell is pizza time? But that's all I got, everybody. Adios, muchachos. I'll see you in the next one. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for...